The wind was wrong that morning. Elias Crow could feel it before he even reached the ridge overlooking the land he never wanted. His uncle's ranch, the Crow Bend, spread across the Arizona frontier like a scar left by something ancient. Sun-scorched fence lines leaned like tired bones, cattle scattered thin across brittle grass, and the main house crouched in the shadow of a sandstone bluff as though ashamed of itself. Elias tightened the reins in his calloused hands. "Why'd you leave me this place, Uncle Hob?" he murmured. He expected no answer. Uncle Hob had died without a word, without even a proper will, just a letter delivered in the final days of July. "Come take the ranch, boy. There's something here that needs settling." Elias hadn't planned on returning. The frontier had taken more from him than it ever gave. But duty, and an old, stubborn guilt, had dragged him back. He rode toward the house, and the wind kept whispering wrong. The first discovery. The front door groaned open like a wounded animal. Dust lay thick on the floor, and the scent of stale smoke hung in the rafters. Elias expected decay, disrepair, maybe coyotes living in the cellar. But not this. Inside the great room hung 8 small shapes, 8 young Apache girls, motionless, suspended from the thick support beams of the ceiling. Except they were not bodies. They were effigies, woven from willow branches, dried sage, river reeds, and adorned with beadwork and patterns traditional to the local Apache tribe. Their braided hair was made of coarse horsehair and yucca fiber. Their dresses were stitched with surprising care. Yet the most chilling detail was the expression painted on each face, not suffering, but sorrow. A ceremonial display, left by someone who knew exactly what they were doing. Elias froze, his breath catching in his throat. What in God's name is this? On the floor beneath the effigies, a single message had been carved into the wood by a blade. "We remember the taken. Do you?" A shiver crawled up Elias's spine. This was not a threat. It was an accusation. The unwelcome visitors. That afternoon, while Elias was attempting to pull the effigies down with respect rather than fear, he heard hooves outside. 3 riders approached, local ranchers he vaguely recognized from his youth. Ben Maddox, the brutish cattleman, Clay Rowe, whose sneer could curdle milk, and Jeremiah Pike, the only one who looked genuinely uneasy. Ben swung off his horse. "We heard you were back, Crow. Didn't think you'd actually take this place." Clay spit into the dirt. "Shoulda let it rot. Hobbs shoulda burned it years ago." Elias narrowed his eyes. "What do you know about the effigies in my house?" Jeremiah paled. "Effigies. Again." Ben shot him a warning look, then turned back to Elias. "Listen here. You wanna stay, stay. But don't go stirring up old ghosts. Hob did enough of that." "What ghosts, exactly?" Ben shrugged, but Clay stepped forward. "Your uncle wasn't no saint. He did things. We all did. Was a different time, and that's all you need to know." Elias scoffed. "Not good enough." Clay's jaw tightened. "Just stay quiet, Crow. You want that ranch to be yours. Then let the dead stay dead." The men rode off, leaving Elias with more questions than answers. The mysterious girl. That night, sleep came late. Cold wind crept through cracks in the walls. The effigies lay gently on the ground outside, where Elias had placed them with care. Near midnight, a soft song drifted toward the house. A girl stood outside, Apache, no more than 18, her dark hair braided neatly, her eyes bright with something both cautious and defiant. "You touched them," she said. Elias rose from his chair and stepped to the doorway. "They were in my home. But I handled them gently. That is why I came." She introduced herself as Tala, daughter of an Apache elder from a nearby camp. "The effigies are ours," she explained. "They honor 8 young girls from our people who vanished years ago. We place them to call for truth, to call for justice." Elias felt something heavy lodging in his chest. "My uncle, was he involved?" Tala studied him quietly. "Your uncle knew what happened. Many white men did, but only one carried the guilt heavy enough to break." Elias swallowed hard. "And the others?" "Clay Rowe, Ben Maddox." Tala looked away. "We know their names. But proof is buried, hidden, lost in the land your uncle left you." Elias felt his hands clench at his sides. "I'll help find it." She raised an eyebrow. "Even if it brings danger to your door. Especially then. Secrets buried in the earth." Over the next days, Elias and Tala formed an unlikely partnership. She showed him the canyons and trails where the girls had last been seen. He searched the old barns and cellars of the ranch for hidden records. Finally, inside his uncle's locked trunk, they found a journal. Hob Crow's handwriting was shaky, desperate. I tried to stop them. God help me, I did. But Clay and Ben and that devil Carter, they took the girls. Said they were teaching a lesson to the tribe for trespassing on cattle land. I hid the ledger. Buried it deep in the ravine. If anyone finds this, tell their families. Tell them I'm sorry. Tala trembled as Elias read the words aloud. The ledger, proof, was somewhere on Crow Bend. And the men who had done evil were still alive. The confrontation. Word spread fast. Ben, Clay, and Carter rode in with guns, shouting threats, demanding Elias hand over whatever he'd found. Elias stepped forward, heart pounding. You murdered children. Ben sneered. Watch your mouth. No, Elias said. You watch your soul. Gunfire erupted across the yard. But Tala's people had been watching from the ridge, waiting, quietly, patiently. They moved with precision, surrounding the ranch, disarming the men without killing them. Jeremiah Pike threw down his gun willingly, tears in his eyes. I tried to stop them back then. I swear it. I was just a boy. I didn't know how. Tala's warriors escorted the men away, not for vengeance but for truth. For justice. The ledger in the light. Elias and Tala dug through the ravine until they struck metal, the rusted tin box Hob Crow had buried. Inside lay the ledger, names, dates, confessions, and proof. When Tala held it, she wept, not with rage but with release. Our people have waited long, she whispered. And now? Elias asked. Now the land breathes again. A new beginning. In the months that followed, Crow Bend changed. Elias rebuilt the ranch, not as a monument to his uncle's guilt, but as a partnership with the Apache families whose land bordered his. He learned their stories, their language, their ways of honoring the past. The effigies no longer appeared in the house. They were replaced with something new. A small wooden carving, placed gently on Elias's porch by Tala herself, a symbol of healing, of friendship, of shared land. Elias stood on the hill one evening, watching the sun melt into the desert. He whispered into the wind. Hob, I finished what you started. The wind, at last, felt right. Final message. In the Wild West, justice often came late. But when courage rose above silence, when truth fought its way out of the dust, healing could begin, not just for a land, but for a people, and for a man who finally found his purpose among the ghosts.